the fastest car on the planet. Presented by Morpha Auto.
What's the takeoff speed of an airplane?
The most extreme version of the Yangwang U9 is capable of nearly 500 kilometers per hour. A number that puts it in the same conversation as Bugatti, Koenigsegg, and some of the fastest machines ever built. That alone would be enough to make headlines. But the more I learned about this car, the more I realized it was playing an entirely different game. Fast cars aren't new. We've seen fast cars before. What I couldn't understand was everything else. A vehicle that can rotate on the spot, stay controllable after a tire blowout, float on water, jump, and even dance. Do you actually need any of those features on the road? At some point, I stopped asking how fast it was and started asking a different question. Why? Because when you put all of these technologies together into a single machine, it starts to feel like something else is going on. This car wasn't built just to break records or compete with other cars. Because the deeper you look, the less this story feels like it's about a car. Let's start with the technology that makes almost everything possible. The E4 platform. Most vehicles distribute power across multiple wheels through a shared drivetrain. Yangwang does something different. Each wheel receives power from its own electric motor. That changes everything. Because once every wheel can be controlled independently, the vehicle gains something most cars simply don't have: authority. The ability to decide exactly how much power goes to each wheel and exactly when it's needed. Thousands of times every second. For more than a century, engineers have been trying to make vehicles more stable, predictable, and responsive. Yangwang's answer was simple: give the vehicle more control. The result becomes visible almost immediately. One of the best examples is tank turn, a maneuver that allows a vehicle weighing more than 3 tons to rotate almost on the spot. To make that happen, each wheel must perform a different task at exactly the right moment. Some move forward, others move backward. Power delivery changes continuously. Tank turn looks dramatic. But what you're really looking at is coordination. The same principle appears in a much more serious situation: a tire blowout. At highway speeds, a sudden tire failure can destabilize a vehicle almost instantly. The affected wheel loses grip. The vehicle pulls unexpectedly. The driver reacts, sometimes correctly, sometimes not. Yangwang approaches the problem differently. Because every wheel can be controlled independently, the vehicle can immediately redistribute torque and stability control across the remaining wheels. Instead of waiting for the driver to save the situation, the vehicle begins correcting itself. Then comes Daisus X, Yangwang's advanced active suspension system. Traditional suspensions react to the road. Daisus X actively controls the movement of the vehicle itself. The suspension no longer just absorbs forces, it generates them. The system can raise, lower, and redistribute weight almost instantly, which is exactly why the U9 can do something that sounds ridiculous. It can jump. The jump isn't the achievement. The control required to make it happen is. And after everything we've seen, these aren't random features collected into a single brand. They're the result of a company pushing far beyond what most customers would ever ask for. Which leads to an interesting question. Why? By the time Yangwang arrived in 2023, BYD was already one of the biggest EV manufacturers in the world. The company knew how to build cars, it knew how to sell cars, it knew how to scale production. Yangwang wasn't solving any of those problems. What's interesting is where BYD decided to position it. At the very top. Flagship vehicles, hypercars, the most difficult part of the automotive industry to enter. Because at that level, customers aren't just buying a product, they're buying a reputation. And reputation is something China has spent decades trying to build. For years, China's greatest strength was manufacturing. The country became exceptionally good at making things: phones, electronics, batteries, Elon Musk, consumer products, eventually cars. But manufacturing excellence and brand prestige are not the same thing. One can be built with factories, the other has to be earned. And that's why Yangwang matters. It sees Chinese engineers, Chinese technology, Chinese manufacturing. In that sense, Yangwang feels less like a product launch and more like a statement. Because when the world sees Yangwang, it doesn't just see BYD. The world sees China. Is our interpretation, but it's difficult to ignore the symbolism. So, should Toyota be worried? Should Mercedes be worried? Should BMW, Porsche, Bentley, and Rolls-Royce be worried? The answer is both yes and no. Let's start with the no, because Yangwang isn't attacking the markets that built most of these companies. A Corolla buyer is not suddenly shopping for a Yangwang U8. A Civic buyer is not choosing between Honda and a six-figure luxury SUV. The markets are completely different, at least for now. But that's also why the answer is yes. Because Yangwang didn't enter through the front door, it entered through the penthouse, the place where reputation matters most. And history has shown that industry leadership is never permanent. Because if Chinese manufacturers can compete for prestige, competing for volume becomes much easier. For the first time in a long time, they may be looking at a challenger that no longer sees itself as an outsider. Those technologies are statements. Changing perception takes years, sometimes decades. But one thing is already clear: the world is looking. This is Yangwang. This is BYD. And this is China.